everyone, and welcome to episode number 3 of Freak Enterprise. My name is TJ.
And I'm Ian.
And we're here at the Freakopolis Geekery, our comics and game shop. And we got some awesome comics news and reviews.
Yes, we're going to go not just previews this time, but into some of the stuff we've been reading this week.
Yeah, it was a great week in comics, the week of January 1st. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
A lot of really cool stuff from Marvel. In particular, I think had a really strong week with, in particular, Thor #1.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about that later in the show, as well as Daredevil continues a really great run. Doctor Doom,
X-Men, Hawkeye.
Yeah. You're going to hear about some of those a little later on in just a few minutes. But let's take a look at our continuing sort of deep dive into this month's previews. This is stuff that is coming to stores mostly in March. Maybe some stuff in April as well. Mm-hmm. And we're going to highlight some things that I've found that we're big fans of and can't wait to see hit comic stores this spring. So first up
is a familiar title.
Yeah, it's a favorite of Freakopolis's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Deadly Class is getting its 9th volume, Bone Machine.
Ooh, very cool title.
And we've been reading this in stores as the singles come out.
Oh, yeah.
But now, of course, they're collecting it into this trade. And this has been a really great arc so far. It's not done yet, but there's been a lot of new characters introduced.
Oh, yeah. And very compelling ones as well, with interesting backstories and the way that they intertwine with Marcus and our more familiar protagonists.
Yeah, and it takes place back in a familiar area. I don't want to spoil too much, but King's Dominion is well and alive inside this book after a bit of a departure in the past couple weeks.
Definitely the most notable original setting that comes out of Deadly Class is the school itself.
And Happy New Year to you, Dean. Thanks for dropping in, man. Hope you like Deadly Class and some of these other books we're about to talk about. Some really cool stuff on the way. So yeah, Marcus. There's some changes to his characterization in this. I mean, he's grown a lot, and we begin to really see that set in stone inside of this. He's kind of at the top of his game right now. Him and Maria are having a bit of a tiff, I think, throughout this.
No doubt. You could see that coming for sure. And yeah, even though Marcus is the big dog at King's Dominion for the moment, he still has that introspective, self-reflecting moments that make the character who he is.
Very much so. So yeah, you get some of that relationship drama and stuff that Remender is really good at. You know, he's like a guy that must have had his heart broken
many times.
Many times, because he writes it so well.
He does.
But you know, it still is brutal and action-packed and visceral as ever. Especially this latest issue.
Yeah, I was going to say one thing before we move on. If you enjoyed the antagonist Shabnab, holy moly, is his role in the recent issues just shocking.
Yeah, this latest issue at this like ski retreat sort of thing was really, really good.
Crazy.
So I can't wait to get the next couple singles to finish out the arc and then start up. And then Volume 9 will be finished up. We have, I think, Volumes 1 through in stock at the store now, and we've sold more Deadly Class than I think any
other book.
Any other book. We just love this book.
Well, I'm glad it made it to Volume 9. What a run!
Yeah, they say there's no end in sight. Really, it's got a long ways to go.
Excellent.
So
very cool.
Up next, new stuff coming to comic shops in the month of March. I found this book called King of Nowhere. It's a mini series with Tyler Jenkins on the art, and that's what really stood out to me. It's from Boom Studios. It's got this really surrealist kind of otherworldly vibe.
Oh, yeah.
As lovable, drunken, low-life Dennis awakens on the outskirts of a mysterious village called Nowhere, home to a friendly populace of deformed, mutated, just left of normal citizens, and he has no memory of how he got there.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, you've got... this is written by the guy that wrote Ice Cream Man, Maxwell Prince. That book has such a weird tone. It's dark and it's funny and kind of surrealist, and I think he's going to bring that too, with maybe less horror elements, though they do claim it's a thriller.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, these mutants have a lot of potential for certain. They always do. This cover evokes a kind of middle America feel to me, you know? Is there going to be a funny slice of life alongside all this absurdity and surrealism?
It's very possible, yeah. I mean, you've got a great... it reminds me a little bit of Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, it's nowhere. It's got this very wide-open landscape and this surrealist feel to it. So yeah, I'm sure there will be some weird stuff happening in this, but I really picked it because Tyler Jenkins did some books that I really enjoyed, Grass Kings and Black Badge, and he's really unique in the sort of comic scene in that all his interiors are much like that cover. They're kind of watercolor.
Yeah.
So here's a preview. No lettering or text, obviously, so no huge hints as to the story beats, but you get a sense of Tyler Jenkins' art inside of this.
And it is a truly unique and beautiful style. Now that you mention it, Grass Kings, I fondly remember as being one of the coolest comics to have come out in recent years.
Yeah, it really doesn't look like anything else on the shelves. Maybe some like Jeff Lemire stuff has that same sort of feel, but of course he's worked with Tyler Jenkins as well. So,
Right.
yeah, here's one of the mutants, I assume, up here.
Oh, yeah.
With sort of a deer man.
Right,
kinda.
animalistic features.
But he's still driving a Jeep, so maybe it's all a metaphor.
I was gonna say.
It seems likely, anyways, for this drunken guy's stupor that he's in. So yeah, and we talked a little bit about slice of life and like not completely action-packed.
No, yeah.
This will probably bring some of that as well. A lot of introspection into this character, kind of a character study on what is happening in this town of nowhere.
So that is King of Nowhere coming from Boom.
That's right.
I like that quite a bit. Yeah, those are some cool
yeah.
interiors. Yeah.
Very interesting.
That almost
characters
evokes Preacher's design.
Yeah, where like anybody can just have like one oddity about them.
Yeah,
and-
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if that comes up.
Up next, Doctor Doom Volume 1.
No denying the doom.
So as I mentioned, Doctor Doom number 4 came out this week on the 1st, and I read through that this afternoon, and it's been this book has been really, really cool. It's kind of insular in that it doesn't have a lot of tie into the rest of the Marvel Universe, so it's nice to jump into and just get like this singular story and character study on everyone's favorite megalomaniac supervillain.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah. And the art inside of it is really, really strong as well. Salvador LaRocca doing a great job, and I think is aided really heavily by the colorist. Brings a lot to this. Salvador's line art is really great, but it's not super impactful. It's not a huge departure from a lot of other stuff you see.
Sure.
But the colorist really brings a depth to it that I think works really well.
Yeah, no doubt. You can already see the colors on this cover, if you don't mind a kind of visual interpretation. We have Doom hooded with the shading over his upper face, which gives you the trope of evil is always in the shadows. However, behind him, we see this kind of...
Got the Kirby on.
Yeah, poppy color scheme going on, which implies maybe a motivation for good or something along those lines, you know? So
yeah, he's kind of towing that line in this, and I think that's due to his position in this. Dr. Doom's kind of on the run throughout this first trade. He is accused of blowing up this huge moon base.
Oh, jeez.
And people are after him. He claims to have nothing to do with it. That's yet to be seen, but I kind of believe him given that he's the protagonist. And there's a ton of really great cameos as well inside this first trade. Of course, I've got 2 issues left before this trade comes out, but we've seen already Silver Sable, Victorious, who is Dr. Doom's kind of like superhero lackey in Latveria. She came out. She was announced in No Surrender, I think, a couple of years ago, an Avengers book. We didn't know where she came from. Turns out now she's running with Doctor Doom and is super, super powerful, imbued with the power cosmic. And it's really cool to see more of her and more in-depth information and her own storyline and stuff. We've also seen Taskmaster, which is really cool. He had a great scene in this latest issue. And MODOK, too. So some really great villains outside of Doctor Doom. It's just chock full of great villains in the Marvel Universe.
So you say that this particular Doctor Doom run is Doom on the run as compared to his general seat in Latveria, and that is a departure from his usual storytelling technique, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he's been down on his luck before, but he definitely feels like prey in this sort of trade so far in this volume. Yeah, he... he's still as powerful as ever, but at least personally, but he doesn't have the backing of a whole country.
Yeah, and an army of robot clones and all that stuff. So
people are trying to assassinate him, and the whole world is sort of against him, which I guess isn't too uncommon, but it seems like
it's even more pressing here.
Yeah, and maybe he doesn't. He seems a little lost too, which is an interesting take for Doom, who is so full of self-conviction.
Yes.
All the time. Great run-ins with Kang too, and
they got all the big players.
And Mephisto. Like it's just some really great cameos inside this book, and
awesome.
Has been really, really strong. Yeah, it's a great look at an awesome character.
Very cool. Up next,
our final piece for tonight's Freak Enterprise. This is going to be more of a review. The book is already out. It hit the shelves this week. We've got copies now. And that is Thor #1 by Donny Cates and art by Nick Klein. This has been built up to for a while. Jason Aaron's run, 7-year run, just ended with the completion of this year's War of the Realms and King Thor. We are now into a new age of Thor. And that all starts right here. And I was super pumped for this. Very excited. It was the first thing I read this week, and I think it lived up to that.
It certainly did in my interpretation, for sure. Looking at the cover here, we can see that Thor has changed. In fact, the most notable thing is that he has Odin's 2 ravens.
He does. Because this picks up right where Jason Aaron's run left off. Post-War of the Realm, Odin has abdicated the throne, basically, and Thor is now the king of Asgard, All-Father Thor. And so with that comes some Odin-esque things, I guess.
No doubt.
His ravens. Inside the book, you don't see it here because this new costume ties into a really great reveal at the end of this first issue. But he's also got an eye patch. He's missing an arm. He's looking very grizzled. And I think, despite that, he struggles with... He loves being Thor so much, it's hard for him to become the king, I think.
That's definitely a major theme in this first issue, is his own thinkings on being the king. I found, in particular, his interactions with Loki, who is now officially king of the Frost Giants.
That's right. It happened in War of the Realms as well.
Was really interesting in the throne room. Him and his brother talking over their newfound rule.
Yeah, it's a great scene very early on in the issue. Not too much spoilers. Thor kind of kicks everybody out of the throne room. You think he's there alone to have some, solitary time, and the camera kind of pans to, of course, Loki sitting there, just like in the shadows, and like Thor can't have a moment of peace without somebody.
No, who else but Loki to come and pester him? Yeah,
right, during that time. So we also have a preview for this title as well. So of course there's the cover.
Yes.
People were kind of split on this costume. I would say I was too. I do like the Thor rune built into the chest piece.
There's some good design there.
Mjolnir looks great, but knowing where he gets this look from, having read the book, is very cool. It makes a lot of sense. So we open. This is the first few pages. Is a really great sort of montage, I guess, of Mjolnir flying through the 10 realms. It also opens with Far Beyond the Fields We Know, which is a reference to Walter Simonson's original run. I think it's
very cool.
Thor 166 or something. So
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, some longtime fans have a nice nod to a great historic run there.
Yeah, you have this excellent establishing shot of Mjolnir making its way through the 10 realms now.
Yep.
And as it does so, it's both a signal of peace and a changing of eras as Thor takes the throne. And also a bit of Thor's lack of wanting to let go of being the mighty Mjolnir wielder,
Yeah, and you get different perspectives of what that, Mjolnir flying above, just blasting through the sky would mean to the different realms. Some people are, praise it. Some others are hide away and
shaking
scared
with
of it.
Fear.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally it comes to, we get a shot of Manhattan here smoking. And the next page was just a great reveal. I knew I was in for a roller coaster ride when I turned to this. Krakoom. He just smashes through this giant monster that is currently fighting the Avengers.
Yeah, our favorite team. You can see Iron Man, Cap, and She-Hulk are there battling away with this creature. And Thor saves the day from 10 realms away.
Yeah, and yeah, this really highlights, the visceral nature of the pencils that Nick Klein is providing in this. Really, he did a really strong job, I thought, bringing visual language to this book on the whole. And yeah, I mean, that's just such an awesome, Thor's still kicking butt from 10 realms away.
Yep.
And moving ahead quickly, Tony leaves him a nice message as it flies back to Asgard. Nice shot, enjoy your retirement, which is kind of a dig.
Yeah.
But Tony, Thor and Tony have relationships, so. But I definitely think throughout this, Thor's kind of struggling with the idea of retiring and becoming king and what that means for him, but is pretty quickly interrupted by a major cosmological threat.
Yeah.
That brings in a lot of things for Donny Cates to play with, like the Heralds of Galactus and
the Power Cosmic.
And reality warping, bending, eating sort of threats. So
No doubt.
Knowing the way Donny Cates writes, this is going to be quite a ride, and I can't wait to check out more of it. We have copies of it on the shelf. There's copies available for purchase now. If you would like one, we'd be happy to set it aside for you. If you like the look of any of these other books, we'd be happy to start you a pull list at the Freakopolis Geekery. And let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm super pumped for all these books.
Oh, yeah.
If I haven't read them already, I certainly will. And we can't wait to see them on the shelf sometime soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Catch you next week.